Hey there, are you still not using QR codes to grow your business? Well, one of the commercials from the Super Bowl builds a very strong case as to why you should be. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And for whatever reason, my technology is not working correctly. Here we go, right here. All right, we're going to talk about that today. Hey, welcome back. Stan Shields here. We are going to talk a little bit today about some of the commercials that we saw for the Super Bowl. Now, did you watch the game? Did you watch the Super Bowl? I did. Did you watch the commercials? Yeah, I kind of half did. And did you see this commercial in particular? This is one that's really all about this is what our subject of our meeting is going to be about today. So hang tight, watch this. Now, there was about a minute of that. So Coinbase, the company that sponsored that commercial, paid about $6 or $7 million for 1 minute of that. That confused a lot of people. They were not sure what the heck it was. But guess what it also did? It piqued the curiosity for a lot of these people. And so some people pulled out their cell phone and they scanned it because they were curious. They wanted to see just what was in this QR code. Some people didn't know what it was. They didn't know how to do it. They were just lost by the whole thing, right? However, there's a few points that I want to make with you today with regard to QR codes. And if you have a small business, of why and how you can use QR codes to help you in your business. And so let's see here. First thing I want to talk about, though, is from the safety standpoint with QR codes. QR codes are a very useful and versatile tool, but it's also, unfortunately, one of those things that scammers have figured out a way to use it to scam people out of their money and so forth. So you want to make sure that you are being careful with QR codes if you're using a QR code, okay? And so if you're at a restaurant, a lot of times restaurants use QR codes for you to pull menus, that kind of thing. Just make sure that you really believe that the code is coming from a legitimate source and that there doesn't seem to be any signs of scam or anything like that. And what are some of the signs you could look for? Well, if you're, let's say, at a restaurant, it's not a code that's like behind some plastic or in something that you can clearly see that there's not a sticker that's been put over the top of it, or somebody has slipped a different piece of paper in there with a QR code or something along those lines. You just want to try and make sure that it's accurate and that it really does represent the business and take you to where you're really trying to go. Sometimes those QR codes that people have put something over them, or they have replaced the original QR code with one that takes you to another place that either steals your information or gives them access to your phone or something along those lines. So number one, just be careful that you are not falling prey to some scammers and that kind of thing. Now, for the Super Bowl, then those QR codes are very low risk. I mean, that whole thing is, pretty well thought out, at least you would think, and you hope, right, that there shouldn't really be any issues behind it from that standpoint. Now, the curiosity factor is a big factor that you as a small business owner have in your favor, because some people want to see what's inside that QR code. They want to know what's over there. Whoa, can I get something free out of this or whatever? Now, QR codes have really gained in popularity just in these last few years for a couple of reasons. Number one, the technology in cell phones has increased dramatically. In the old days, when I was trying to use QR codes when I owned the martial arts business, we had a hard time doing it because you had to have a special piece of software on your phone in order to actually read it. And it was a big hassle because most people didn't have it, and they didn't really want to get it. They didn't want to add it to their phone. And it just took way too long to try and actually get something scanned and get the data in there. The pandemic has changed all of that. So between the technology going way up, because just about everybody's phone nowadays has a camera that can read a QR code. And quite often Android phones, even though it may not be able to read the QR code, sometimes they usually have a QR code reader right on the phone as well. So the technology has changed, and the use and the need for touchless contact and whatnot has now really driven the process so that the QR codes are much more useful these days. Now, the other thing that's interesting with this is that Coinbase was willing to spend almost $7 million to reach, and that was just the cost for the ad space. Of course, the commercial itself was 1 minute of that code just kind of bouncing up and down the screen like the old video games. It didn't cost them very much in order to put that together. They did a magnificent job from an effectiveness standpoint on this whole commercial. And so on one hand, it was a brilliant idea. On the other hand, they fell down short a little bit in terms of the execution behind it. And actually, I jumped ahead of myself a little bit. This video also had no explanation. It had nothing on it. It just really played on the curiosity factor. Okay. Where they really fell down short a little bit is they didn't quite have the infrastructure that they needed in place in order to make the QR code work. And so what happened was so many people scanned that QR code and they went to their mobile app. And by the way, Coinbase, if you're not familiar with cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, Coinbase is one of those, it's one of the Bitcoin brokerages services. It's the wallet where you keep your Bitcoin. And so they're giving away $15 in Bitcoin to people that sign up and get a Coinbase account. So go find that video and you'll be able to scan it and get a Coinbase account if you don't have a Coinbase account already and you want to buy and trade Bitcoin and so forth. Now, the other piece of that was there were so many people that went to it, it crashed the system. And so one of the things that's important is making sure that the infrastructure is stable and can handle the capacity for that. Now, if you're a small business, you're probably not going to run into that problem. That's my guess. You're probably not going to have millions of people hitting your site and crashing it and that kind of a thing. Okay. And so so we just need to make sure that our system is set up to respond appropriately. Now, how can small businesses use the QR code in order to build your business and grow your business? Well, two ways that I'm going to talk about right now. One is if you see, I believe it's in that direction right there, you see the QR code in the top corner of my screen. If you scan that with your phone, what that's going to do is take you right to a text. It'll open up your text message system and you text the word QR code, and you can do it if you're like on your phone right now watching this, then you can do it by just texting the word QR code to that phone number that's right there on the screen. When you do that, then it's actually going to take you to a form that I ask you to complete. And then you're going to get an article that I wrote on using QR codes to capture leads at local events. And so that's another way for you to use it. So you can use a QR code whether you're speaking in a speaking engagement, or you are doing a live broadcast, or you're creating a video. You can use that QR code just like you see it on the screen. It can go to text messaging. It can also go to a website. It can go wherever you want it to go. It can go directly to a blog post. You can send it pretty much anywhere you want it to go in order to deliver information or capture information. And so if you send it to a capture form where you can now capture the person's information, and then you can create a drip system, whether that's a drip system by text message or a drip system by email, both of them will work in terms of getting your information back out and just starting the conversation with either the lead, your prospect, or with your customer. Okay, so you can use these QR codes to now build your database, build your list, build your communication with your customers and so forth. And then hopefully you're going to bring those leads from being prospects to leads down to being customers and then raving fans, so that they then recommend you to everybody on the planet. So at any rate, I just thought it was a great lesson for us there to see. And the big things that I want to emphasize to you is that if you're currently not using QR codes in your business, that you're missing a huge opportunity there. And a company like Coinbase, for the Super Bowl, they were spending $7 million for a 1-minute commercial and they use nothing but a QR code on the screen to get people to go to their site. And so many people went that crashed their site. That is, to me, that's incredible. And so you would be able to use that so much more effectively by having a description of what it is and telling people what it does for them, so that you and your business would just get much more benefit out of it. All right. I hope you joined me. Hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next time. You just make sure you have a fantastic day. All right. And get started on the business. If you want to learn more, or if you'd like to at least talk to me about how QR codes could help you in your business, either scan it or enter it, the text message in there, so that you can we can get connected and we can talk more about how QR codes may work in your business. Have a fantastic day.